What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is Friday. It is May 31st, and it is 8:45 p.m. Pacific time. Yes, it is quite late all around the world, except for maybe like in Australia, or if you're in Hawaii, it's probably a pretty good situation. If you're in the state of, that was the state of Hawaii. So if you're in Hawaii, if you're in Australia, if you're in New Zealand, it's probably a good situation right about now. But if you're in the UK, you better be asleep. You better be in deep REM sleep. You should not be up watching this show. No way, no how. Absolutely not. I'm sorry. You should be sleeping. You should be so deep into like your seventh dream right about now. And later on, a number of hours from now, you can wake up and you can have a tea and some scone. You can have your tea and you can have a scone. A tea and scone in the morning, and you can watch me on YouTube. So go ahead and do that. But if you're in California, it is 8:46 p.m. in the glorious Republic of California. An incredible place to be. On the East Coast, not quite midnight. It is not quite midnight on the East Coast. But if you are on the East Coast, you're probably drinking some bourbon right about now. But yeah, what is going on, folks? I'm starting a little bit early because you know what? We've got a lot of like videos and trailers and clips and things to get into today. It is all about Blood and Truth for PlayStation VR. It's all about Trover Saves the Universe. And it's all about Game of Thrones. It's all about Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. It's all about Winter Fury, The Longest Road, World War II. There's a lot popping off right about now. And of course, people probably yesterday, you guys probably tried Free Diver. Some of you guys probably tried it. Or maybe you tried Space Ops VR. And so why don't we go ahead and go to the question of the day. Let's go to the question of the day, if I can find it here. And the question of the day, guys, is Space Ops VR. Did you buy it? Did you like it? Do you think Anthony is crazy? I really like Space Ops VR, but I don't know if everybody else out there is going to like it. Also, what about Free Diver? Are you a little bit tired of the same old puzzle games? Key cards galore. You know, key cards galore. Are you tired of it? Are you enjoying it? You know, the one thing I think I forgot to mention yesterday when I was talking about Free Diver, I got distracted and went on another tangent. But one of the things I forgot to mention is when you're diving around and you're exploring in the water, you know, in this capsized vessel, and you're trying to survive, there's this one point where you have to swim a long distance, and then as you're swimming up, you see fires everywhere, and you see a little pocket of water that is not on fire. Everything else is on fire. And you swim out to that pocket of water and you pop your head up and you're looking around and it's on fire everywhere. It's like, that's kind of like a movie. Like, that was a very, very impressive moment in Free Diver. May have been, honestly, the most impressive moment of the entire experience, possibly. Seeing everything on fire like that. It looks like you're in Backdraft or something. It's like a cross between Titanic and Backdraft. Right when you come out of the ocean, that part was pretty cool. But I'm wondering about, did anybody grab Space Ops? And it looks like Slay Blaze did grab some Space Ops. He's downloading it right now as we speak. And we have Michel Lamoureux, which I don't, Michel Lamoureux. You're streaming late. Yes, it is very late. And so one of the things that I mentioned recently, we can get it off this question of the day thing. Let me go ahead and grab some other rando trailer to throw on here. But one of the things I did mention not too long ago let's see, I'll just throw this weird thing on here, is that show times are going to be random, folks. They are going to be a bit random. Ideally speaking, I would like to be within the same time frame that the show has been normally, but things are going to get a bit crazy, and I'm going to tell you guys why. Sacramento, the heat is on another level, baby. It was winter. It was like, well, winter, I don't know. It wasn't exactly winter, but it felt like February, just like a week ago, just like a couple of days ago. It was like raining and stuff. It was like weird weather here in Sacramento. And so our summer has been delayed. Our summer has been delayed. But guess what, folks? It's back. Summer is back in business. In fact, why don't we go to the Webinal? Let's go to the Webinal and let's take a check of the weather. Hold on one second here. I'm going to grab a weather in Sacramento, California. And, okay, it was 77, but yeah, what was the high? So the high today was 87 degrees. So we're looking at it over here. This is the Webinal, and you can see right around 3 to 6 p.m., you can see it was holding steady at about 87 degrees. So I was going to start the show right around here, but I got to tell you, it was very hot in this room. Right now it is 77 degrees, and this room is freaking pretty warm. It is pretty warm. I'm surviving right now with no fan of any type. So that is good news. But basically what I'm trying to say here is Sacramento's starting to heat up. And do you know what that means for this particular show? It means we're going to have much earlier shows and we're going to have much later shows because you got to beat the heat. You got to beat the heat. So early in the morning, later in the day, I'm going to have to play it by ear. But my apologies to everybody that is not able to catch this show live. But you can watch. I mean, look. The show, some people will say it's not evergreen, man. It's not evergreen. You got to create evergreen content. In fact, I actually did have somebody that emailed me, and he's actually a cool dude with a lot of great advice. Matthew, you know who I'm talking about. You emailed me with some great advice, and he talked about evergreen content, brah, is what he was kind of talking about. And he was saying, look, these shows that you're doing, brah, they're not evergreen. But I think they are evergreen for a couple of days. So for a week, really, maybe even 2 weeks. Like you could probably watch one of these shows that's 2 weeks old if you never saw it. And it probably still has some relatively entertaining stuff, although obviously the news is going to be rather old. But for a couple of days, I think they're viable. So if you don't catch it live right now, not that big of a deal. But let's get into the topics at hand because we've got a lot of them. We've got a lot of little videos and clips to play. So let's get the show on the road. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go back to the Webby browser here. And we are going to go over to Upload VR. And Super Smash Bros. Ultimate just got Switch VR support. What a shocker of shockers. So here it is. Nintendo just added VR support to another one of its tentpole Switch games, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Yeah, this is really actually happening. Kind of crazy. What's going on here with Nintendo, man? Nintendo is kind of crazy. They're doing all this VR stuff, but what are they doing? They're kind of doing it half-assed. It's like, if they're really going to go to this length, then give us an actual legitimate VR type of thing. Like, actually create something VR. This is kind of weird. Like, I could have never envisioned this sort of scenario. Like a year ago, if somebody told me, well, Nintendo is going to dabble... They're going to dabble in VR, but they're going to dabble in VR in one of the strangest ways you can possibly imagine with this Labo thing, this Labo kit. And then what they're going to do is they're going to offer updates for some of these games. And some of them are going to be absolutely craptacular. Some of them are going to be pretty cool. Really, honestly, actually, not that many of them are pretty cool. The Mario stuff is kind of halfway decent, but like Zelda, from all I understood, it's pretty much a no-go to be trying to play Zelda. And then the actual Labo Kit VR, that actually does have some pretty cool experiences. People have said that. I'm not sure what the deal is with Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, but this is the hype. Like when my kids, I have teenagers, right? And sometimes their friends will come over to my house. Let's go ahead and switch back over to the standard scene over here. I can grab the trailer for this and throw it on while I explain a little Nintendo situation. I'm not up on the Switch. Like, I am not hip on the Nintendo Switch. I'm kind of out of it. I've never owned a Switch. I've never even played a Switch. I've seen a Switch. I've looked at it, and I thought it was pretty cool. And I do have family members, like cousins and nephews and whatnot, where they do have a Nintendo Switch, and we will be at a family gathering. And what they'll do is one of them will bring their Switch. They'll have 4 little controllers. They hook it up to a TV, and everybody is kind of gathering around, and they're playing the Nintendo Switch. And they're playing like Mario Kart or something, or Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, or some type of game like that. That's what they're playing on the Switch. And I see it a lot. And I know this is a very popular game. So I got to imagine that there are going to be some fans of this game that are going to want to check this out in VR. And it does have like those retro backgrounds and stuff, which would be kind of cool to check that out in VR. But it's just so weird. It's so weird to me that, this is not the way I imagined Nintendo getting involved in VR. Because technically, Nintendo has a Mario game in VR, technically. Nintendo has a Zelda game in VR, technically. Nintendo has a Super Smash Brothers game in VR, technically. Like, how weird is that? That is crazy weird that we have those 3 franchises. Technically, they're in VR, but it's nowhere near what you would have imagined it to be. We just have to hope, though, that Nintendo takes a look at what's going on out there with the Oculus Quest. That's one of the other beautiful things about the Oculus Quest, ladies and gentlemen, is a successful Oculus Quest. And it appears to be pretty darn successful in these very, very early days of availability. It is pretty much sold out most places out there. Like the initial batch of Oculus systems have sold out. And you know what's super interesting about this, guys, is just today I was at work and I listened to a podcast. It was This Is Only a Test, the Tested podcast. And Norman Chan was talking about how they were talking to Oculus people about the launch of the Quest. And they asked him, would you guys be supply constrained? And the Oculus people kind of laughed at it, almost like, oh no, we're going to have plenty of supply. Don't even worry about that. And here we are, and they're sold out. So Oculus was not they were not expecting to sell out, but the Oculus Quest has sold out. That's going to start putting pressure on these other traditional video game companies like Nintendo, like Microsoft. Sony's already in the game. It might put pressure on Sony to consider a standalone competitor at some point. Things are going to get interesting. The more successful the Oculus Quest is, the more interesting it's going to get for the traditional players in this particular category. But it is nice, it is very nice that Nintendo is dabbling in VR, even if it's not exactly what we were hoping for. But at least they're doing something, and maybe this will whet their appetite and they'll continue to go down this road. Okay, what is another story that we want to get into? Obviously, I do want to talk about Blood and Truth VR for PlayStation VR. The topic of this episode is Blood and Truth, is it overrated? And I feel 2 different ways about that. In some ways, I kind of do feel it's overrated. In other ways, not. But we'll talk about that in just a minute. But before we get to that, holy moly, rickatoli, guys. Because Trover, have you guys seen the latest Trover commercial? It's like 3 minutes long. This is not ready for prime time in terms of profanity and all these sorts of things. I'm going to try to run this commercial, and hopefully this channel does not get shut down. I mean, I grabbed it off of YouTube itself, so this was on YouTube. But let's take a look at the newest trailer for Trover. I know it's long, But let's just take a look at it because it's pretty freaking hilarious. And then I also want to talk a little bit more about Trover real quick. But let's check out this trailer real fast first. Okay, so I'm going to pump the volume up on this. Here we go.
Another day in paradise.
Hey, this is my commercial for my video game.
Hey, this isn't about you. It's about me.
Shut up.
I'm the next big thing.
Get lost.
I'm gonna be a star.
I'm Trover. This is supposed to be a commercial for my video game, Trover Saves the Universe.
I know what's what.
Come on.
I got a song. I got a sink.
Go back to your room.
I got fried eggs. I got everything. I got a vocabulary. Hada
You're ruining my
naga
commercial.
daga.
Go
Hada
to your
naga
room.
daga, you shit.
Okay, look, you could play my game on the TV, like a regular traditional video game, like you would, or you could play it in VR and be fully immersed in a world of magic and fun across the cosmos with me. You know, I'm your partner in the game.
I'm the one who's whacking. I'm whacking it. I've whacked it in front of people.
You know what? Just go ahead and skip the ad.
Not press your button on that skip ad, because I will skip you.
Go ahead and just skip
I'm
the
gonna
ad. It's
skip
basically
you
over.
if you skip me. I've been in a fight with a tray.
Get out of here.
I know how showbiz works, and you don't. I'm gonna be the next big star.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna have my own show, and it's gonna be a 3-camera sitcom with Shannon Doherty.
Go back to your room.
And I'll get loads of people on the show because I've got the biggest forearms in showbiz.
Pretty hilarious, but very long on that trailer. So we're going to go ahead and abort it a little bit right about now. But yeah, dude, Trover Saves the Universe does look pretty freaking hilarious. In fact, what I did was I grabbed a quick clip of this. It's a gameplay clip from PlayStation Underground, and it lasts for about 1 minute. And I think it's a cool clip just to kind of get a peek at Trover. So let's go ahead and check this clip out. I'm going to go ahead and run this clip real quick, and then we can come back and talk about Trover a little bit. But here's a quick little sample of Trover Saves the Universe gameplay footage.
Okay, check this out. Watch this. This is great.
Jeez. Oh no.
He's eating the other ones. It's insane. That's what they do when you put them close together. They're crazy, and all the powers are now and combined into this one power baby. And here
Perfect.
we go.
And it's just
Double
that's
jump, baby. We got the double jump now.
How far into the game are we?
This is literally the first level of the game. There-
Best friends.
Oh, where'd you go?
Okay.
So I gotta go. I gotta move on. I gotta pack up. This place has too many memories. I can't live here. I can't be here. I can't have my stand here no more. This place has too many memories. It just reminds me of my friends that you killed. You're the definition of monsters. Like that movie with the one actress who played the monster woman.
Didn't you want me to kill this
Get
guy?
out of here. Jeez, we really ruined that guy's day. But hey, I can double jump now.
Okay, so you weren't able to
Around.
get up there
This is
before,
fun.
and
Let's
now
play
Exactly.
I see.
Now I can
Okay.
get up here.
Great. Yahoo! Yippity-dee.
Sid, this is like so you, like just
Yeah.
Yahoo, yip-diddy-dee.
I love it.
All right. Well, yeah, that is Trover Saves the Universe. That is a quick clip of that. And I think it's looking pretty darn good for Trover. I'm going to go ahead and switch up and throw something else on here real quick. But let's go ahead and bounce back over to the Webinal browser here. And let's see. Trover, in terms of upcoming games, let's see. Yeah, here it is. Trover is also on sale. The Steam version is 10% off, although I think it's been this way for quite some time. So this is $26.99, $27. This is going to be available on June 4th. In a few days, actually. It's already available right now on PlayStation VR. And we also have that special bonus package where you can get Trover. You can get Five Nights at Freddy's, and I think it's $300. But if you wait until June 7th, you got to wait another week, which really does suck. You can get both of those and a PlayStation VR package with the camera, with the PlayStation VR unit. You already got your DualShock 4. Of course, you are going to have to get yourself some Move controllers a little bit later on down the road. But Trover does look pretty freaking hilarious. It looks hilarious. I mean, look at how freaking colorful and bright this looks. It is going to have just I mean, like, look at these levels and stuff. They look cute. It looks fun. I'm up for a platforming game. I like this type of thing. But really what it ultimately boils down to is it's all about the comedy. Like, the comedy is absolutely mission critical when it comes to Trover. Let's see. I'm going to look up Trover on PlayStation. We can check out the PlayStation Store page for Trover probably. Trover Saves the Universe game. Yeah, and there is a physical version. I mean, you can get it for $30 at like Walmart and Target and stuff like that. Or, of course, you can go to the PlayStation Store. 30 buccarinos. It is not exactly cheap. You are kind of paying a little bit of a premium, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that it's, you know, it's from the creators of Rick and Morty, from the co-creator of Rick and Morty. Squanch Games is a developer. They have this pedigree, they have this fan base, and they can command it. And honestly, I'm looking forward to this actually than most of their other stuff. Even see, I like a platformer like this. I like color. That looks like Rayman. That is like reminding me of Rayman, like way back in the days. But I like these vivid, bright colors. And then just the hilarious commentary that is going on. The funny, hilarious story. The F-bombs and just crazy talk that goes on that is in the game as well. So I'm really looking for Trover. I'm looking forward to Trover. I don't have it yet. Haven't played it yet. I do want to get my hands on it. I'm thinking about trying to play the Steam version instead of PlayStation VR version. I'm not exactly sure, but Trover does look very good. Let's see. Kevgret says there was a launch discount that expired. I think that was on PlayStation VR. Oh my God. Epic Game Store has Trover for $16.99. Are you serious? Really? That is kind of awesome. Let me check that. I mean, I didn't really, Epic Game Store. It's weird. I haven't really paid much attention to Epic Game Store, but I mean, I've heard all the talk about Epic Game Store. You know how they're trying to compete with Steam and all that. Epic Game Store, Trover Saves the Universe. See if we can find this. Epic Game Store, Trover Saves the Universe. Yeah, buy with Epic discount, $16.99. Pre-purchase is $27. Buy with Epic discount is $16.99. What do you have to do something special? Do you got to like belong to like a special club or something? I don't think I have an account on this yet. I haven't gotten any of the free games. If it's simply just signing up for Epic Games Store and just having a simple account with the store and you get it for $17, not a bad idea at all. This is actually a really good tip. Whoever gave us this tip in chat, that is huge. Thank you so much for this tip. Because that is actually a very good deal. That is a major discount that you could get Trover Saves the Universe for $17. Not bad at all. Certainly a possibility right there. Okay, so that is Trover Saves the Universe. Now, another thing that I saw going on in the VR gaming world today is we've got a brand new trailer for the Game of Thrones virtual reality experience that is coming exclusively to Viveport Infinity. We heard about it like the other day. Dude, I'm sweating. I am baking up in here. I'm going to have to kick on my fan in a second here, but why don't we let's check out this Game of Thrones trailer before I activate my fan. And let's see what Game of Thrones is looking like today. Oh, I get it. Okay, so Epic is having a sale right now where everything is $10 off. So if you want to use that $10 off on Trover, that's a possibility. That's pretty interesting. Now, when you get it, but you got to use their client, right? You're going to have to play Trover Saves the Universe in their client. And you know me and external clients. Like, we've got enough of them already. I don't like this idea. I hate giving into that. And they're basically buying you. They're essentially buying you as a customer They're forcing you to get accustomed to using their system. And then once they got you accustomed to using their system and they got you getting a free game here and a free game there, and you start to build a library, you know what they're doing, guys? They're getting their subconscious hooks into you. They really are. That is the secret. That's how they do it. You start building a library. You start feeling like you've got property in the Epic world, and you feel like you've got a place there. And the more games you buy, the more entrenched you feel. And that's what they're doing, and it's a smart thing to do. But let's go ahead and check out this Game of Thrones virtual reality experience. The trailer just hit for that. Why don't we go ahead and check that out? I'm going to go ahead and pump the volume up on this BOGO trailer, and we'll check out some Game of Thrones real quick. All right, so that is the Game of Thrones Beyond the Wall virtual reality experience, which is coming exclusively to Viveport Infinity. I gotta say, though, isn't the timing a little bit off with this? Like, Game of Thrones was the hottest thing on the entire planet like about a month ago. Not exactly right now. I mean, it's still very hot right now, and people are still into it, and people are coming to it a little bit later. But man, it seems like they missed out on a golden opportunity if they had this thing about a month ago or 2 months ago. I think there would have been a lot more hype. If people found out about this, I think people probably would have been like, oh, I really want to check out. Like, even people that have never tried VR ever before. But if they heard about this, they might be like, oh man, I got to find somebody that has VR. I got to find somebody that has an HTC Vive. I want to check this out. I want to experience this. But yeah, it's only on Viveport. It's Viveport Infinity. And I'm not sure if you're able to play this. I'm not sure if you're able to play this with just your standard Viveport Infinity subscription, if it comes free with that, or if this is one of these extra things that you got to pay extra money for. I'm not exactly sure how that all works. But this is obviously one of their premier experiences. This is a great idea for HTC to pay the money to get the deal with HBO, to get an experience like this. This is a feather in their cap for that service, but I still feel like they're about a month behind on this. They should have had this thing out already. Like a month ago. I think it would have been a smart idea. But that is Game of Thrones Beyond the Wall. So we finally got a trailer for that. Okay, let's see. What else did I want to go to? Hold on one second here. Well, obviously, Blood and Truth. Why don't we just go ahead and go into Blood and Truth, and we can talk about that. So the first thing I'll do is I'm going to throw on a trailer for Blood and Truth. And this is like a behind-the-scenes trailer that kind of shows you the tech from London Studios for making Blood and Truth behind the scenes. And let's check this out for a second, and then I'll talk about Blood and Truth here. I'm going to let this run for just a second.
Stand by. Go. Come on, let's go.
In VR, the player is the camera, so the player's got complete freedom to look wherever they want, do whatever they want, at whatever speed they want. And so that presents us with some challenges, but they're really exciting challenges because we have to develop a new language for how we guide the player, how we make them look around the scene and get the best out of the game.
I mean, it'd be rude not to, wouldn't it?
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Blood and Truth. Now, first of all, I gotta tell you guys, I'm very early in the game. Not very far at all. In fact, I can tell you where I'm at in the game, and then maybe somebody can tell me if I'm like just 10% into the game, 20% into the game, barely started the game. I'm not sure exactly. But the point where I'm at is when you first get to the nightclub. You know when you get to the nightclub and you have like the DJ booth and you got the 2 turntables there and you can play music and then people start running out and you start shooting the people? That's exactly where I'm at in Blood and Truth. So I've kind of just barely started the game. I've only seen a handful of action sequences. Like I haven't seen any of this stuff right here. I have been in a vehicle. I'm very, very early, I'd have to say, in this game. And I have a number of impressions about it, both on like just incredible, this is amazing, and then also like, I don't know. You know, there's some disappointing things about Blood and Truth as well. So I took a few notes about it. So let me get my notes out here. Okay, so one of the first things that jumps out at me in regards to Blood and Truth is the human characters that you're talking to in this game. I would say that the human characters that you have, you don't actually have conversations, but they're talking to you, they're looking at you, they're recognizing you, they know where your head is, they'll walk around and they'll kind of like maintain eye contact with you to a certain degree. And these human characters are probably the best looking human characters, the best realized human characters I've seen in VR up to this point in time, with the possible exception of Lone Echo. Maybe, just maybe, Olivia of Lone Echo is better in some ways than some of these human characters. But I thought these human characters were pretty incredible. Especially the main guy that you're working with, that is like, he's standing behind the table, he's kind of interrogating you, and he's kind of a pissed off guy. That guy, they do him very, very well. And very early in the game, he like sits down, he like leans over to you. And one of the things that I did when I was playing it is I'm looking at this guy, he looks really, really human, and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna lean in, I'm gonna get close, I'm gonna get right up into this guy's face and take a good look at him. And I did, and I was like, damn, they really nailed it. It's kind of like LA Noire in terms of like facial animation and stuff, but it's even beyond that. And really, honestly, the only problem I had with that human character is I felt like his head, I'm 80% through the game? No way, because I barely started it. Oh man, if I'm 80%, no, I haven't played that long. Because doesn't this last like 4 or 5 hours or something? I'm not even an hour in probably. I'm barely, like I've only been in like one car chase so far in the entire thing. But basically, bottom line, human characters are pretty incredible. That is awesome. Now, let's go to the negative side of the coin for a second here. Like, what's the single individual biggest negative aspect of Blood and Truth? And so that guy right there, like that guy looks like a real human being when you're around him. So that was pretty impressive. But what's the single biggest negative of Blood and Truth? Well, everybody already knows what the single biggest negative is. It's the fact that you cannot freely explore the world. It is node-based teleportation. Of course, we knew this coming in, but still, I gotta say, the world that London Studio has created here is so visually impressive. There's so many details everywhere. Everything is so solid and so well done that you really would like to explore every nook and cranny of this world, but you're unable to do so. And another real pet peeve I have with this game is I could not figure out whether I should be standing or whether I should be sitting. There's only 2 car chases? Because I was in, what about the one at the very, very beginning? The one at the very, very beginning where you're kind of like in a desert? Like this area right here. Like at one point right here, like that car chase right there. I did that car chase. You're telling me there's only one other one besides that? It seems like there's more. But anyway, so it's got the node teleportation thing, but the world is so well realized that you would like to go off the beaten path and you'd like to explore everything else. But see, the other problem I wanted to bring up is whether you should stand up and play this game or you should sit down and play this game. And so I'll tell you how I started playing this game. I started playing standing up. I was standing up, I had my move controllers, and I was going through the game, and I was standing up, and then all of a sudden, I'm in a Jeep, we're driving around, and I wish I was sitting down. And then I got to some other area where I'm like sitting at a table, but I'm standing up. And so it kind of seemed like, I should probably sit down. So then I started the game over and I'm like, okay, I'm going to play seated now. So now I'm playing seated, but then it doesn't feel right when sometimes you're like standing up in the game, but now you're playing seated. That doesn't feel right either. So I had a lot of problems in trying to figure out how I'm going to do this. So basically what I did is I kind of went with a hybrid style where I played standing up and I had a chair right behind me, just like directly right behind me. And so anytime I got to like a car section, or I'm sitting at a table, or I should be in a chair in some kind of way, I will sit in the chair and then I'll recenter myself. And then if it's standing up thing, I'll stand up, I'll recenter myself. It's a little bit of a pain in the neck, but you can deal with it. But here's one thing I haven't been able to deal with yet, and I'm not sure if this is in the options somewhere, and maybe I could adjust it, and I would love to be able to adjust it. But here's the problem. When you're playing standing up, it automatically goes into a kneel. Like you go to these certain areas, you teleport to these little spaces where you're behind cover, and the guy automatically kneels down. But I'm standing up. I don't want to be kneeling down while I'm standing up. Like let me physically kneel down or something. I don't know. Like somehow that needs to be turned off, I think. Because if you're trying to play this very immersively and you want to stand up and be in the experience, you don't want it to automatically start kneeling for you. And so I didn't like that, and I couldn't really figure out a way around that. But in terms of like just the pure graphical candy of the game, it is pretty friggin' spectacular, because there was this one scene, it's pretty early on in the game, where you get outside and it's nighttime and you're basically like in an alleyway and it's raining and the rain is coming down and you're just looking at the cityscape that they've developed, and you're just looking at everything, and the rain is coming down and the music is really good and the graphics are so awesome. And one of the really cool things about London Studio, they're very smart about this, because most PlayStation VR games, if you're playing like this and you're right in front of your PlayStation VR camera and you're centered properly, you're playing the game, everything's good, but now you notice, oh my God, this looks so beautiful, and you're looking at this beautiful area, and then you start going like this and you start turning around because you can't help yourself because it's so damn beautiful and you want to check everything out. So you start turning all around. What normally happens immediately? Typically, when you start getting out of your camera range like that, immediately you get an annoying message that pops up on the screen that says, turn around, face your camera, it breaks all the immersion. It breaks everything. And London Studio, they were smart about it, because they thought, you know what, people are going to want to completely examine this beautiful environment that we've laid out for you. People are going to want to appreciate this. So when people are going to teleport to a certain spot, they might want to examine everything around the world. And it's nice because they don't tell you, turn around and look at your camera. So what you can do is you can turn around, you explore the world, Just look at your hands. If your hands go all different ways, then you know you got to turn around and face your camera. And when you turn around and face your camera, your hands will be back in proper position. So you'll kind of know that. But you have the opportunity to explore a little bit and look around, but you can't free locomote around. And oh my God, there's so many nice, beautiful little areas in this game and so many nice little details. Especially when I was like outside and I was in the rain and I'm in that alleyway and it's raining and it's nighttime and just the whole vibe of everything. I would like, even like out there when you're in the Sahara Desert and stuff, I would like to explore every little nook and cranny. I think that would be pretty awesome. But unfortunately, it's the node-based teleportation system, very similar to Arctica 1, very similar to Wilson's Heart, so you got to go from place to place. Now, there is a little bit of a differentiation here from those two, from the standpoint that you do have an ability to strafe to the left and to the right. So you can teleport to a spot and you can basically go bang and move over to the left, or bang and move over to the right. And sometimes there's multiple spots all in a row, and so you can keep kind of banging over to the left a number of ways and banging over to the right. The gunplay is pretty good. It's pretty solid. You're grabbing your clips, you're loading your gun. You got another like submachine gun that you can grab over your shoulder there. And so the gunplay is all very good. The set pieces, the story. One criticism I could have of this early part that I've played so far is it's almost more story than game. This is almost freaking Vader Immortal Part 2, Like Vader Immortal is very much an experience. It's not a game really. Vader Immortal is an experience that has some playable areas. Blood and Truth is a little bit more game than it is experience, but there's a lot of story. The story's incredible. It's like not that the story is incredible, but the way the story is unraveling is really impressive. Very AAA, very high end, very big budget. I mean, you've got actors that are straight acting out. It's very Invisible Hours like in terms of like the performances that are happening, but these characters look way better than Invisible Hours. In fact, honestly, actually, that's like a whole nother other topic there. But imagine if with this game engine and with the quality of the facial animation and everything that they had in here, imagine if they made an entire Invisible Hours out of this quality animation. That would be really cool. That would be really interesting because these guys look really good. And one of the complaints about the Invisible Hours is like it's so pixelated and everything. This looks really good. Now, another complaint that I have is in parts of this game, I felt like I was on a Disneyland ride. Like I really felt like I was on a Disneyland ride, and that sounds good, and it is good. It's almost like an action movie. Like, for example, okay, so sometimes the game moves automatically for you. Like you're on a roller coaster ride or something. It's like, okay, now you're moving forward. And so you're automatically moving forward. It's like you're running or something, but obviously you're not. You have no control over it. It's just these node-based movement. But every once in a while, you get on this like trail where it's moving you along really fast, and as you're moving along, guys are jumping out from behind buildings, and so you're going bam, 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 and you're moving along, and then you go psh, you go through a window. So it's like action back, and Action Jackson. It's like, crazy cinematic. You know what it reminds me of, actually? It reminds me of like Universal Studios. Have you guys ever been to Universal Studios where they take you on these little trams that go through like some of the different places where they film a scene out, and they have like these automatic things happening where it's like, oh, they're really filming a movie, and you're like right there. It's almost like you're on like a Universal Studios ride as you're going through here and you're shooting people. And I appreciate it. I mean, I know why they did that, because if you think about it, how are you ever going to really get a true movie experience where there's like an explosion that's perfectly timed and there's a helicopter that's crashing over here? How are you going to do all that if the player has actual control and can go anywhere? Because the player can walk over here behind a wall and that's when the freaking helicopter crashed. It's a problem. How do you make it incredibly cinematic and make it feel like you're really inside a movie unless they take over your movement and they control your movement? So they kind of have to do it. But it almost seems like more of a thrill ride than an actual game that you're playing. And it almost feels a little bit automatic. Like, I don't know, like when I'm done with this, and I'm still early in it, I haven't done the whole thing. I haven't done this entire thing, but when I'm completely done with it, I might kind of feel like, did I play the game or did they play the game? I mean, not that bad. You're shooting guys. You really do have to shoot guys. You have to get headshots. You're going to die. Like, sometimes you're going to die over and over until you figure out how to, you got to, look through your sight, and you got to find the green circle and get it on their head. There are certain sequences where you're going to have to get headshots. There are sequences where you are going to have to grab the grenade and throw it back. But the human characters, I mean, it's $40, but it's well worth experiencing. This is a powerful example. Like, the beautiful thing about this entire thing is PlayStation VR 2. When we get a legitimate PlayStation VR 2, a studio like this with their kind of chops, with a legitimate PlayStation VR 2 that has 360-degree tracking, that doesn't have these crappy controllers, that doesn't have light-based tracking. It's like a straight-up Oculus Quest kind of experience with good controllers, 360-degree tracking. I don't know about wireless. Maybe that's not going to happen. But studios like London Studio, they are going to be let out of jail. Could you imagine if this game was on like an Oculus Rift or an HTC Vive, and you could fully walk around anywhere, and it was fully 360 degrees, and they didn't have to worry about any of these constraints of where your camera is and how bad the tracking is and how crappy the controllers are? And so I thought about that as I was playing it. I was like, man, I can't wait till these guys get let out of jail. But at the same time, look, I'm not trying to, shiz all over this. It's an incredible game. It's an awesome game. It's a great game. If you're a PlayStation VR gamer, you probably want to experience this. You probably want to absorb the incredible display that is put in front of you. It's so cinematic. It's very much a movie-like experience. And I'm still, I can't wait to get back in it and play through the rest of it. I want to experience some of the other scenes and some of the other car chases and exciting moments of the game. But that is Blood and Truth. Is it overrated? Probably not. But it's not the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's pretty freaking awesome. It's a great game. It's a feather in the cap for PlayStation VR, to be sure. So that is Blood and Truth. Okay, so what else did I want to get into real quick before we bounce out of here? Well, one last thing I did want to get into. Let's go back to our webby browser. And one of the things I was keeping my eyes on here is games that have been releasing recently. And you know what? This is games that have recently released. As we can see, Free Diver, it came out just a couple of days ago, $9. Space Ops VR just came out a couple of days ago as well, a little bit over $11. And I noticed Winter Fury, The Longest Road. So this game is now available. This did arrive on May 30th, Spider Monk Entertainment. And this is Winter Fury, The Longest Road. It's $20. It's $20. We've only got 2 user reviews. We got the developer's mom and the developer's dad, and the dad was hella pissed off. He said it's pretty trash. Okay, so maybe that's not the developer's dad. Here's the developer's mom, though. There weren't any reviews or YouTube content, so I figured I'd take a chance despite swearing I'd never buy another early access title again. I'm actually really surprised. It's a wave shooter, but pretty fun and easy to get into. I could see it being a hit for showing off VR to friends. Although I've had my Vive since pre-order, and I'm the dad of the developer. Okay, nah, just kidding. But that seems to be a relatively decent review right there. But yeah, this is Winter Fury, The Longest Road. I did grab a trailer for this, but it's kind of low resolution, and I don't know if it's like the actual official trailer. But let's go back over here to the standard scene. Let me go ahead and pop this trailer on. We'll hear a little bit of the audio. I'm not going to go full screen on this, but let's just take a quick little look at Winter Fury, The Longest Road. We're finally getting some games hitting Steam VR at this point. Spider-Monk Entertainment in the building. Let's check this out. So, I don't know. It looks okay. Graphics to me look a little PlayStation 2. Like a little bit, like almost a little between PlayStation 2, like in between PlayStation 2 and Xbox 360 era. So not necessarily a graphical stunner as far as this game goes. But yeah, this is Winter Fury, The Longest Road, another VR game that is hit. Okay, I have not been checking chat enough. Hard to Get says, Blood and Truth movement are very slow to cater for VR beginner without VR legs. Action are kind of numb. One thing I thought though is like when they put you on those automatic, you know, when you're on the automatic Disneyland ride where you're going really fast and you're shooting people, I was like, somebody might feel some motion sickness. I was okay, but I was thinking, man, there might be some people that get motion sickness off this. Okay, Girillo says, Anthony is saving money on t-shirts to get a reverb. I've never seen a more basic become in a pack of 20 green tea like that in a long time. Okay, whatever, I don't know what that statement was. But yeah, it's a basic little t-shirt, guys. It's hot, folks. It is hot, let me tell you. I can't really dress up right now. It's too damn hot, and I'm going to start breaking out the tank tops in short order, as hot as things are right about now. Okay, Trey VR says graphics are crazy good in Blood and Truth. They really are. They're drop dead gorgeous, and you wish you could appreciate them a little bit more and explore a little bit more, but that's the reality right there. R. Gambo says, yeah, Sony PlayStation 5 VR has the opportunity to knock one out of the park. Let's hope. Of course, the downside is, remember, in the early days, we're going to be using our existing PlayStation VRs on PlayStation 5. We're going to have to wait a little while for the legitimate PSVR 2. So we're going to be waiting a little while. That's going to kind of suck a little bit. Let's see. Lethal Weasel VR says, I enjoy... Dude, it's like midnight over there. East Coast, brah. Lethal Weasel VR says, I enjoy bread that I slice myself better than sliced bread. Okay, Anthony, yeah, I like that too. Sliced bread, the problem with sliced bread, Lethal Weasel, is when you have bread that is already sliced, oxygen is getting to that bread. When you have a brand new loaf of bread that has not been sliced and you start slicing it, it is fresher, it's been protected. As soon as you slice it all up, you kind of F it all up. Okay, VR Pro, this is the second time this guy's talking about Oculus VR show. What are you talking about, man? Are you talking about that one video? Like, are you the producer of that video? What is going on over there? Okay, VR Spry Guy says, I see Anthony is still buying coffee at McDonald's. Absolutely. There's a McDonald's right by where I work. There is a McDonald's right by where I work, and I gotta tell you, these are $1. You can get a large cup of coffee for $1. The downside of McDonald's coffee is actually halfway decent. The only problem is sometimes it's a little bit watery. Like, it's not as strong as I personally would like it to be. But McDonald's coffee is not too bad. Okay, Lefty 007, can I talk? Lefty 007 says, Anthony is all hot and bothered. It's hot. It's definitely hot in here. I will not even tell you guys a lie. Because, see, I got that light pumping on me, that light pumping on me. There's a whole bunch of other lights pumping on me. And then I've got these little baby lights that go all the way around like that to make it look like I'm in a Best Buy. Somebody commented on one of my videos and was like, Anthony records his videos inside a Best Buy. No, this isn't a Best Buy. Kevin says Anthony secretly works at McDonald's. I might as well, as often as I'm there grabbing a cup of coffee. So there, guys, I'm reading chat. Are you happy? I'm reading chat. No, I know. I've been avoiding chat a little bit. I do feel a little bit bad about that. Okay, so why don't we quickly bounce our way over to some of the websites that are out there on the intronets. We've been going for almost an hour now, but not quite. And why don't we just take a quick little look at some of the websites. So let's go ahead and load this up. So we were over here at Upload VR. We did talk about Super Smash Brothers really quick. Let's go ahead and go to the main page here. And so they got Beyond the Wall, the Game of Thrones thing. They probably have another story on this because the trailer is now available. And so they're probably linking you to the trailer as well. VR Pioneer's Steam Bundle offers big discounts on groundbreaking games. I haven't checked this out. Okay, so yeah, they're packaging a number of games together. Space Pirate Trainer. You get the 2 gallery games, Call of the Starseed, Heart of the Emberstone, Job Simulator, a classic, Sprint Vector, and Raw Data are all in the group, and you get it for $123, 20% off, a set of incredible games. I don't think that's a big enough discount. This would be a pretty good deal if it was like $99, not $123. If this was $99, it'd be a pretty good deal. It's a decent deal for somebody that's brand new and they're coming to VR. I mean, Space Pirate Trainer is kind of a mandatory VR game that you should probably play. Job Simulator, Raw Data, and Heart of the Emberstone, really good. Sprint Vector is okay. Call of the Starseed, a little mediocre. But yeah, I don't know that I'm in love with that deal personally. But yeah, we talked yesterday. We've talked already about Pixel Ripped 1995. I'm hoping at some point to possibly interview Anna, the developer of this game, Anna Ribeiro. I would love to interview her, so I'm going to try to hopefully set up an interview at some point in the future, possibly. I'd love to talk to her about the process of making the original Pixel Ripped 1989, the process of making Pixel Ripped 1995, and then also about the VR industry in general, a lot of other things like that. That would be a cool interview, I think. So hopefully that could happen at some point in the not too distant future. Let's go to Road to VR and see if there's, so all of these stories, we pretty much saw all these stories yesterday. So there really isn't anything new. Of course, Abduction is free. This is going to last until June 1st, so you don't got much time, folks. You're running out of time on this. June 1st at 10 p.m. UTC, whatever the heck that is. So time is running out on getting Abduction free if you haven't already grabbed that. We could take a quick look at upcoming games. Let's go ahead and see. Is there anything that's just about to hit? We saw the games that have already recently just come out. Five Nights at Freddy's. Has anybody played this? Anybody in chat? Has anybody played it? I'm wondering if anybody's really impressed with that one at all. Let's see. Onakazi says, just randomly checked and Anth's live, 12:40 a.m. my time. Yeah, if you're on the East Coast, it is pretty late at this point in time. But yeah. Oh, Lefty 007, you tried Five Nights at Freddy's and you said it wasn't that immersive? Okay, yeah, there's a lot of like big YouTuber streamers that are doing this, like PewDiePie, Jacksepticeye, all kinds of big time YouTube streamers are doing this game, which is cool that they're doing it because that is definitely going to get it out there into the public consciousness. But yeah, that one recently came out. But let's see what's upcoming. I know, of course, in terms of upcoming games, like the next biggest ones coming to Steam is Trover Saves the Universe and Zed. Those are the two big ones that are coming very, very soon. But I did notice right here, Ninja Legends. This is being developed by Coin Flip Studios, and I know they're bringing this to the Oculus Quest, and they're working hard on this for the Oculus Quest, but it is also coming to Steam. It's kind of an Action Jackson, Ninja Gaiden kind of a game, hack and slash ninja game, Ninja Legends by Coin Flip Studios. We don't have an exact date on that. It just says spring 2019, but this could be coming very, very soon. So that could possibly arrive very quickly. But we do know Trover Saves the Universe, of course, is on June 4th, which, what is that? Is that going to be like next Tuesday probably? And Zed, I believe, is also June 4th. So that's coming up very soon as well. Just trying to see if there were any other games that were possibly linking out. Garden of the Sea is already in there. Downstream VR, did we finally get a date for this? It still says spring, so that could possibly arrive anytime. Area of Darkness. Oh, check this out, guys. Check this out. We've got an update on Area of Darkness. This was set for early May for a long time, and now they've made a very minor adjustment, and now it is set for June. So they're good for like 30-something days. But this could arrive very soon. We've been waiting on this one. It might be halfway decent. It might be kind of good. But I think the big one in the month of June, I think it's going to be Zed. I mean, I don't know if this is going to live up to like my expectations, but I think this looks pretty cool. At least graphically, visually, I think it's going to have some nice production values. It could just be another goddamn puzzler, though, and we are starting to just get overwhelmed with so many damn puzzle games. I mean, I'm sure it is kind of a puzzle game. It's, of course, this game is all about like dementia and Alzheimer's and stuff and someone losing their memory, but looks very interesting. This is coming on June 4th. Do not forget about this. Zed, it's a pretty big one. And then, of course, we do have a lot of big Oculus games that could potentially arrive at any given time. Let's not forget about that. In fact, why don't we go ahead and let's take a quick look. Oculus Rift Experiences. See if there's any sales again. They haven't been doing that lately. Oculus Rift Experiences. Let's see. So, yeah, so still no sale. Oh, wait, Contractors. So Contractors is on a deal. It doesn't look like it's a daily deal that's running out, but Contractors has a minor discount, a little 15% discount, $17 for Contractors. So that is not a bad deal. If you're looking to get that, it's certainly one of the best shooter games we've got out there. And, they've got a lot of new games as well. They've got Free Diver. Of course, 1111. What about that? Has anybody tried 1111? That is one I would like to try. I haven't tried that yet. But 1111's pretty good as well. But yeah, so in chat, Anthony Burdick says he just donated $5 a month on Patreon. I truly appreciate all the support. There has been quite a bit of support recently. In fact, I made a lot of new little, well, actually what we can do here is we can switch over here. I made some new little graphical things that show off people that have recently donated via Patreon or PayPal. And we do have a lot of people that have joined both Patreon and PayPal donations quite a bit just in the last couple of days. It's funny, somebody said, I don't know why it's not working now. Now it's not showing up. What's wrong here? Add files. because all these puppies are not... Oh, there it goes. Now it's showing up. I don't know why it sometimes goes dark for a second, and then it works. But that's our boy Jason Rubin. But it's not showing everybody. But yeah, we've had... I can go to probably the Webby browser, and it'll see Slay Blaze recently donated $25. That was really awesome. Truly appreciate that. But what I can do is, while we're checking that out, let's go ahead and check out the Oculus subreddit and see what some people are talking about over here. So looking at the Oculus subreddit, VR in third person is a lot of fun. Oh yeah, did this game come out already? Is this already out? This is, what is that game called again? Oh, they're going to release it very soon in early access, so that's not out yet. But that does look pretty cool. It definitely does look pretty sweet. Okay, trying to get back to the subreddit here, though. And problems. My internet is having problems. Not sure what the deal is with that. So we'll go ahead and check out the Vive subreddit. I haven't really been checking out the Vive subreddit. A lot of people are talking about this interview, Joe Rogan and Wiz Khalifa. Oh, you know there was a lot of weed smoked in this room when this was going on. I'm surprised they can even see each other. There should be clouds just all over the damn place in this particular podcast here. But apparently if you skip to the 1 hour and 7 minute mark, they start talking about VR a little bit, because Wiz Khalifa, he was in an Oculus Go commercial. I believe he was featured in an Oculus Go commercial, and Joe Rogan has a Vive, and he plays it every once in a while. His kids really like the Vive, and he's kind of into VR and thinks it's kind of amazing. But yeah, let's see if we can get back over to the Oculus Rift subreddit, see what's going on over there real quick. This is called Late Night Hype, folks. It is late night, and we are seeing what is going on some of these subreddits. But yeah, I don't know. The Oculus Rift subreddit does not want to work for me. It does not like me. It does not want to load up. Oh, here we go. Okay, just seeing what people might be talking about over here. Defector tease. Oh, is there a new video for Defector? Oh, that's cool. Let me check this out. Do we have a date yet? Looks like we got, I don't know if this is a new trailer or if this is like a little GIF or something for Defector. You know, it's honestly, it's a good thing. Defector needs to stay away for a little bit, because we do have Blood and Truth right now. Like this is the worst. Like, this would be the worst time to release Defector. Like, it's too similar to Blood and Truth. I don't want to play Defector right now. They need to take a couple months and wait on that one. I did see this. Did you guys see this little video? What happens when VR and AR mixes together? And I believe this is like for Vovo or somebody. They have some kind of demo where they're showing like you're standing in this room, and then this car just basically kind of forms in the room around you, and then the rest of the room just starts turning into VR. So it's basically like pass-through VR pass-through AR that is going into a VR headset, and it's like this Volvo thing that they're doing at like a Volvo dealership or something. Does look pretty freaking cool. It does actually look pretty sweet. What happens when VR and AR mixes together? But yeah, it's a little sample. I would like to see when we get a little bit more AR coming into our VR headsets, and that's something that could happen with the Valve Index. But anyway, yeah, not a lot of news going on, so that's going to pretty much do it for this show, guys. Not the most happening show, but you know what? We continue to bang these puppies out. I'll tell you what, I've kind of come to the conclusion. Let's go ahead and go into the outro now. So let me go ahead and get my little outro logo on the screen, and we can bounce out of here. Let me just read a little bit of chat before we bounce out of here. So, yeah, Slay Blaze says Wiz Khalifa loves VR. Recycled says recreational marijuana to be legalized in Illinois. By the way, y'all. VR365 contractors meetup, possibly. Zaylin Maru says he forgot about Defector. Yeah, it's easy to forget about Defector because it's kind of disappeared into the mist. Lefty007 says, our Oculus is depressing. Why? Is there a lot of negativity over there? There's good and bad things going on over there. I think, honestly, though, our Oculus is a little bit more hyped. Like, our Vive seems to be kind of dying off, but I think that's because everybody went to the Valve Index one. Yeah, so Rogan is always talking about VR, but more as a passerby who's just blown away with its realism. Yeah, he does have a Vive, and he lets his kids play the Vive. I mean, they mostly play it. I think he's seen it a couple of times, and he's just like, man, it's going to be amazing what we have in about, 5 to 10 years. He's kind of like one of those guys where it's like, man, it's going to be amazing, in the future, and that's probably what they were talking about it. Joe's also one of those, I'm afraid I'll like it too much people. And that is going to happen. That is our dystopian future. People are going to like it too much. Like, VR 20 years from now is going to be it might be depressing. Like, it really might be Ready Player One level depressing, where people are just getting lost in a freaking VR world. And they are not even living, like they're freaking anorexic. They're not getting enough food. I mean, it could be freaking crazy, bro. VR could get way too good at some point. Hussein X says, I think Defector is being turned into an even bigger game. Hence the delay. Maybe to complete with Blood and Truth. Just an opinion. Well, I hope it's quite a bit different than Blood and Truth. I know they're similar from the standpoint that they're both kind of like spy, thriller, action Jackson type of games. But this is Twisted Pixel. And Twisted Pixel, their first game on the Oculus Rift was Wilson's Heart, and that was node-based teleportation movement similar to Blood and Truth, but they've been let out of jail now. So Defector should be like free roam, go anywhere, and they're definitely doing that dialogue system, and they're having hand-to-hand combat, shooting combat. I don't know, none of the trailers, like everything that I've seen for Defector, I'm not excited for Defector. I'm just not excited for it, but I know it's a big game and it's probably going to be a really cool game. And when it comes out, I'm going to be like, yeah, I want to check it out. But it's not like in my own personal most wanted games. Like, I don't know if it's in my top 10 for like what I really want to play right now, but it's still a big game, and hopefully maybe it'll be better than we're expecting. But yeah, I better get out of here, folks. We've been going for a little bit over an hour, so I'm going to go ahead and bounce out of here. But I will be back tomorrow. What time will I be back? I don't know. I don't know what time I'll be back. I'm not going to make any kind of promises. The weather could be a factor as well. Maybe I'll try to do a real early episode tomorrow. I don't know. Or maybe I'll try to do another nighttime episode kind of like this. Or maybe it'll be around a similar time. I'll have to figure it out, but I just don't know. But I will be back with an episode tomorrow. I will be back with an episode on Sunday. And my plan is to continue to deliver daily episodes all the way until July 1st. But I will admit, guys, I think in July 1st, there's going to be some major changes to this channel. I do believe there will be some major changes, and I believe some people are probably going to hate some of these major changes, but I think in the long run, it's the right decision. And there's still going to be this show. This show is still going to exist in a way. At least 2 times a week, this show, like what we're getting right now, this type of show, you're going to get this at least 2 times a week, even in this new future. But it's going to be a different ball game, guys. I'm going to try a different thing. It is going to be scary, but that's not until July 1st. We'll see what happens, but I got to bounce out of here. Everybody have a wonderful Friday. It is Friday. Play some VR. It is late as F. If you're in England, you are freaking batshit insane. Unless you just got up hella early in the morning because you're like the paperboy and you're about to get started on your paperboy route. But otherwise, you should be deep asleep, REM sleep to the 7th degree. All right, I'm out of here. I will see everybody tomorrow at some point. See you guys then. Take it easy. Later.